We're live for another fantastic Friday, bringing in the heat, bringing in the energy, and another amazing episode where we're going to go over the question on everybody's mind. Is it time to buy the Bitcoin dip? And the answer is, I just bought the dip. We're going to look at the charts today with Trip and see just exactly where we are, just after yesterday, because we're on the stream every single day, Monday through Friday, to bring you the most amount of value that we possibly can leading into this next phase of the bull run, right? So things are exciting. It's exciting times. But at the same time, there's still some doubt and some sentiment out there that I'd like to address. So what I will say is I did buy the Bitcoin dip again. But we're going to go over just exactly where we are because we all have different strategies, right? So that's important to take into account. I'm also going to play a video by Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, who says that we're upon the beginning of the Giga Chad bull run, the Giga Chad bull run. That's right. So we're going to go over Cardano today, and we're going to play that clip and just to understand exactly why he believes that this will be the biggest bull run of all time of history. And I keep seeing the sentiment. I keep seeing the sentiment out there that we aren't going to get an altcoin season, that people are iffy about Bitcoin, even from a lot of the top people in the space. So our opinion has not changed. We have not faltered. We're still sticking to what we see in the charts, and there's no indication of that, right? So we're just going to get into that this Friday, and I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Mimi's, good morning. What up, Dan? Welcome to the show. I'm just going to read a little bit of news here as the SEC launches a Project Crypto to make America the crypto capital of the world. And also SEC Chair Paul Atkins says most crypto assets are not securities. That is a huge deal, and that is what we really just want to know. Give us the rules, give us the guidelines, and we'll take it from there, right? We just want favorable regulation, logical, sensible regulation, and let's just let this bull run rip. Let's just let it rip. That combined with the Fed rate cuts, which should be coming at some point, and the rest is history, right? We're not faltering in our analysis. We're not doubting every time Bitcoin dips as to whether or not it's over, as to whether or not altcoins will have another day in the sun. We're just continuing with some more of the same analysis to show where we are, and that's it. We're staying logical, level-headed. And yes, I bought the dip. I will say it again. Oh, and we see Raw Food Writer just bought the dip. It's almost as if you were in the group, Raw Food Writer. But you're pretty much, are we giving updates every single day, Monday through Friday, just to keep you guys informed. And we're doing this as an initiative to help people get prepared before this next leg up. Because that's another thing that I think about a lot of times, like, what kind of investor are you? So we got like the visionary investors, right? Like the Tim Drapers of the world, who said on my podcast with him that he bought 30,000 Bitcoin off the Silk Road when it was worth $600. Now that takes some conviction. That is very early stage, like pre-seed. I see the vision, but this is not going to take off for the next decade or so. Maybe we're not that, right? We're not the OG whales in this space. But a lot of us have been in the space for quite a long time, right? And it's at some point, it's like you're still an early adopter, but that phase will be over at some point, probably fairly soon, as the S curve, the technology adoption curve, is starting to extend, and we're going to get into that phase where we just, again, I'll say it again, adoption feels slow and gradual until in hindsight it looks explosive. We don't want to be looking back in hindsight that it's explosive and now ready to get in. So what kind of investor are you? Do you leave when things are slow, when we're pulling back, when we're consolidating? Or do you stick around, you come to a master plan, and you keep going, and you dig your heels in, and you have that conviction, right? And that is exactly what I want to project on this stream, at least at a fundamental analysis and a long-term analysis. And I want to pair that with Trips charts so that we can see exactly where we are mid-term, short-term, and also long-term, right? So happy Friday again, everybody. I want to know what you're drinking. So it is 7 p.m. here in Spain. I've got an event after this, so I am drinking, well, don't fault me for this, but it's Monster with a splash of ATH vodka. And today I chose the English Raspberry Lychee. So just getting my Friday started off right. And I hope you guys are too. I just am excited to jump into this with you today. Peter, John, buying more because fiat is losing value. Anyway, that's not going to be a change that happens overnight, but it is happening. And you're going to be one of the few that's really prepared, right? When that moment happens, just remember the bank run, all right? Nobody remembers that we had a massive bank run when SVB Bank went down. It was crazy. It was in March 2023, and Bitcoin rallied from $19,000 to $30,000. And that was just a small taste of what it's like to panic and not be able to have control over your fiat that's also dying day by day because of inflation, right? So good evening, Monami. Where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? It's evening my time too, so I'm having an ATH vodka celebrating with you here on the stream. And yeah, I was just going over some of the news. I'm gonna head over to Watcher Guru. So lots of people making lots of Bitcoin buys, just that just doesn't change. It feels like it's August and it's slow, but that still people are going. They're still putting on the pressure to buy more Bitcoin. The SEC says it wants to host crypto roundtables across the U.S. That's massive. Okay, massive. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. has entered the golden age of crypto. So lots of bullish talk, right? Lots of bullish talk. Hopefully we see a lot more action to back up that bullish talk. And then he says, we're exploring new possibilities in decentralized computing and digital payments to unlock the potential of blockchain technology. Ooh, that is huge. And President Trump slams Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Too little, too late, Jerome. Too late. Powell's a disaster. Drop the rate. The good news is that tariffs are bringing billions of dollars into the USA. So yeah, the tariffs, they had a lot of people, they shook up the market a little bit when Trump started to do it. Now it's sort of become the new norm. It doesn't really have so much of an effect. And we've seen that really what they are is just negotiation tactics, right? So the signal versus the noise. Again, guys, signal versus noise. So Peter, the debts of the bear market and chop of 2023, that's when I accumulated the most. Well, you are a very smart investor indeed then, Peter, because that's when we should be dialed in the most. We should be making as much as humanly possible to reinvest during those times, in my opinion. That's what I'm doing. I'm in this for the long game. So Ian, do you think the current trends and your consistent analysis will feed into stablecoin adoption? Yes, waiting for many to launch. Crypto Megan, vodka and tonics, slice of lemon and lime. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been probably a better choice. I just added Monster because I need a little bit of pick me up today. But yeah, I like your choice. So back to the current trends and consistent analysis. Well, actually, talking about stablecoin adoption, Peter, I'm going to play a video for you now from the Cardano founder, setting the stage for what he believes will happen when the stable coins really come into full effect and the adoption starts to get real. Right? Depths of the bear markets. Yes, that's what I thought you meant, Peter. 100% signal versus echo chamber noise. Yes. We want to be the channel for signal as well, guys. Tune out the noise. This is pure signal here. And Al-Manim, hello, guys. Hope you're doing good. Happy Friday. Let's let the good vibes roll. Let's go. All right. Now I'm going to play you a clip. But first off, I'm going to add a few clips to the stage. Nothing stops this train. Fed dollar crisis predicted to trigger critical Bitcoin shock. All right, so this is happening. This is in the midst. It's been in the works for a long time. And, we're prepared for it here. We know this is coming. It may not come today. It might not come this year or next year, but we're positioning ourselves to be in a good position when this starts to happen. We're going to go over the DXY today as well, the dollar index. I'm going to put that up. We've also got news from Stellar. Do you guys hold any Stellar? I think Stellar is going to do big things this cycle as well. It just keeps getting better. Welcome to the club, Visa. Breaking. Visa adds support for PYUSD, USDG, and Euro C stablecoins. Stellar and Avalanche join Ethereum and Solana for on-chain settlement. Huge, right? So now I'm going to play you the clip. The Giga Bull Run is coming, says Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano. Okay, just listen to this clip. It's pretty wild, and he explains why he believes this.
Currency space, you're going to have when clarity gets passed, the Mag 7 are going to enter the cryptocurrency space. You're going to have stable coins go above 1 to 2 trillion in issuance. You're going to have real world assets come in. The total market cap aggregate is going to be over 10 trillion. And so I call this the Giga Chad bull run. It's like the biggest bull run we've ever had. And when Bitcoin starts stalling, then the alts will pop.
All right, so the Giga Chad bull run, the biggest bull run that we've ever had. Let me know what you think about his analysis there and the Mag 7 and the stable coins. I mean, it's all going to happen. What that what the road looks like to get there is going to be a lot of ups and downs, roller coaster like action, but we will get there. And the volatility happens when the asset is still sort of more in its early adopter phase, right? And at some point it levels out. At least that's Tim Draper's thesis, and a lot of investors. So let's see what we have here. Just coming across with a new coin. Okay. Plume, RWA. Any thoughts? We did get some questions about Plume the other day. Dan says he got some stellar. I think that's a great move, Dan. By the way, I'm on Jack Daniels. Coke can't beat it. Okay, Jack Daniels. What do you, is that a Jack and Coke? Just a normal Jack and Coke? I haven't heard that in a while. Back from my going out days. So I'm old now. Just sitting here with my ATH vodka. And good vibes, guys, good vibes. So what do you think about Charles Hoskinson's thesis about this being the Giga bull run, the Giga Chad bull run, right? The bull run of all bull runs. It fits with our analysis that we've been talking about, that we probably are no longer on the 4-year cycle. At least that's what a lot of the analysis is telling us, and what Tripp has been going over time and time again. And if you've been paying attention and tuning in, you would be in the know about that, right? Like, a lot of people are just looking at the traditional 4-year cycle and saying it's got to stick. This is when we're getting out. But it doesn't have to be that way anymore. And we're keeping a close eye on that. In fact, there's a lot to suggest that it's not that way anymore. So we got a lot to be excited about, a lot to get prepared for. We're going to discuss that CME gap that was filled and where we're going to head from here on Bitcoin. We're going to have a look at Cardano for all the Cardano fans, and BNB, and some requests. So if you do have requests, I see Plume. We'll try to do Plume. I've seen that several times. Also, if you are a Cardano holder, but not even just Cardano, Cardano, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, BNB, AVAX, or BAT, you will be eligible for the midnight airdrop, and all you have to do is hold $100 in one of those wallets. Actually, that snapshot was already taken in June. So if you held any of those coins and at least $100 worth in June, you will be eligible for the midnight airdrop. And I've been talking a lot to the team and the marketing team, so maybe we can do something with them, and have some kind of campaign. But yeah, I think midnight is really cool and really interesting. So if you did hold, you can go ahead and check that airdrop out. We will be covering that too. Just FYI, those founders or organizations exploring tokenization, cap table management, and real-world assets, take a look at Bluebird. Okay, Bluebird just announced a big alliance with Sonium, division of Sony, among others, like Red Billy. Okay, thanks for the alpha, Ian. I mean, honestly, like, the tokenization aspect of this is going to be what makes us scale as an industry. That is the next massive thing, right? Like, tokenized stocks, tokenized equities, and finance, right? That's what Larry Fink said, the CEO of BlackRock, that all financial assets will be tokenized. And when that happens, it's going to start to get crazy. Giga Chad, Raw Food Writers laughing. That's right. Actually, he did say it. Charles Hoskinson said that this is going to be the Giga Chad bull run. So locked and loaded, strap in, guys. Could you look at ETH later, please? Okay, another request for ETH. All right. Wow. Let's see if we can get that in this Friday. It's good to check in with you guys again. So happy to see you here. And Trip, on that note, I think we can get started. First off, I want to know what you're drinking.
Me right now, it's just a raspberry soda water. Ooh. Nothing too special.
Yeah, that sounds so good. That sounds so good to me. Like, we don't have flavored water here in Spain. We don't have like the bubbly and the LaCroix and all that stuff. So I do miss that. But yeah, that sounds like a great choice to me. So what do you say we get into this analysis and we tell them what we're looking at?
Sure. Yeah, we're going to start with Bitcoin dominance again.
All right.
I'll let you bring that up. Perfect. Okay, so this double bottom that we've been talking about has been bouncing off of the 1-week 50 MA, and so far it's getting closer and closer to this resistance level. We want to see if we're going to get that breakout here, and this move that we get in this area is going to determine if it's if it's better to play Bitcoin right now, or if it's smarter to trade altcoins for the time being. So usually when dominance is going up, you usually want to pay attention to Bitcoin more than altcoins. So we're still hoping for a rejection here, and maybe we get some kind of a bearish pattern afterwards. But the way it looks right now, it's still a double bottom that's just testing resistance. So that decision seems to be coming soon. Since it's a Friday, might not get that move right away. And if we do, I would be slightly hesitant because I don't like to see moves happen over the weekend. Usually there's a lot of fake outs printed by Bitcoin just the same. So it's just something to keep an eye on still. We're getting closer to that breakout idea. So we have to keep a close eye on that for dominance.
Right. So all eyes on dominance, and let's see if we can break out past this resistance level or if we come back down. Right. That's pretty much like we've had this dip on Bitcoin. We filled the CME gap, and now we're right at resistance with Bitcoin dominance.
Right. Yeah. So we have to just wait for that confirmation. We're getting really close to it. So.
All right, guys. Patience. That's just it. Just go out, have a drink, touch some grass, tune into the show, and you'll be all good.
Right. So this is Bitcoin again on the 1 week chart that we've been watching for the past few weeks already. Right now, we're still considering this as just a retest of this long-term yellow trend line. This goes back to the 2017 high, and it connects in the middle with the 2021 highs, and then to where we are now. It actually briefly tapped these previous tops over here from January in 2025. So now this is still just a retest area. Nothing's really changed too much as far as Bitcoin goes on the big picture. We just want to see the successful retest of that trend line and a push above the 1.272. Here it says the 1.272 is at 119,000, but it's really about 120K that we're looking at as our key resistance level to break.
Right. And what would we be looking at as far as like the range to the low side where we could retest or we could come? Like, I think people want to know, like, what are the ranges we're looking at potentially? Okay, well, you read my mind, Trip. Wow, look at this. And this was posted yesterday in group, right? Or this morning. So they already have this chart. And this is a powerful chart. This really says it all, guys.
Yeah, so this setup was actually posted a while ago when it was about to break out, and it was a buy the breakout scenario. And then since then, we've just been waiting to see if it's going to keep pushing higher above the 1.272 here. This is a different chart setup than the other one, but it's pretty similar otherwise. We're just looking for that retest here again on the smaller pattern, this inverse head and shoulders. And really, it's just the range could be as low as 111, 112,000 or so at the horizontal level here. But really, it's just a green box is the buy zone for this idea. You're just scaling into this area. If you don't get a perfect tap here and a bounce on the yellow trend line, I would still be considering adding to the position, even down here at the horizontal level. So again, up to about 111,000.6 or so is where the number actually sits at. So yeah, right now it looks fine. There's no reason to panic yet. Every time there's a pullback in the market, everyone starts to panic, and I don't understand why these pullbacks happen all the time, right? And then usually it just keeps going higher anyways. So right now, this looks like textbook retest as far as we can see. And we're actually going to look at the CME chart as well really quickly. So this was the gap that had formed back in July on the 11th or so. And Bitcoin on the 1 hour chart recently just filled that on the CME chart. So it's nice to get those gaps out of the way before it's too late. I don't like to see them fill or have to move too much higher and then come back for a fill later on, because it just makes you kind of paranoid. When is that gap going to fill? So it's just nice to get that out of the way and finished, at least for now.
Right. Yes. And I see AM Lover has joined the chat, and he's pensive. Lots of thoughts. What are you thinking about, AM Lover? What are you thinking about? Did you buy the Bitcoin dip? What is your guys' Bitcoin strategy? Are you trying to accumulate more Bitcoin? Are you solely just trying to see what Bitcoin does in order to time your altcoin buys? What's your strategy? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we can go through some of that and help you out. Now he's laughing. Oh, there's a lot of emotions going on. What are you drinking there, AM Lover? I don't know. I'm buying. All right, that's good. He's high on the Bitcoin dip. I like it. Very good.
So yeah, the next chart we're going to look at, it's just a comparison here. So this is the 2 week chart, same trend line. It's just a slightly zoomed out one time frame higher to the 2 week. And we're just comparing to the structure that we can see on the 2 day now too. So really what I'm seeing when I put these two charts together is that since these structures are pretty similar, back here, we were able to at least test that upper trend line on the 2 week chart. And over here on the 2 day chart, it looks like that could be our next target, is up at this upper trend line. We might not break it on the first attempt, but I do think this is something that we're heading towards as far as the comparison of these two charts go. It's probably a logical target between about 130, 135, maybe up to a high as 140,000. So again, if you go back to the chart we were looking at previously, the measured move for this pattern itself is at about 146K, the 1.618 at about 133. So it really does line up with the targets in this area if we're going to get a push to that upper trend line. Next thing sorry, you want to say something? Okay.
No.
The next thing we're just going to compare to is the Bitcoin 3-day to the Bitcoin 2-week on log scale. So there's a lot of times Bitcoin does these repeating patterns or something looks similar to something it's done. And this is actually a fractal comparison. It's a fractal because there's many time frames in between the structures. Normally people think that a fractal is just like you copy a piece of the price action and you stick it onto the end and say, boom, it's a fractal. But a true fractal should represent itself on multiple time frames. So when you zoom out, you see a picture or a structure. And then if you zoom in, you see that same structure. So we're looking at the 2-week log scale, ascending triangle idea. If this green circle showed that we were looking for the breakout of this bigger triangle, and we're expecting that breakout here on the 3-day as well. So this is an older chart from July on the 3rd. So this is before that move happened. And I'm going to fast forward to what has happened since. And now we've got pretty much the same move already. You got that breakout with a nice solid green candle. Same as back here. It was a nice solid breakout. And then it came back for a retest before it continued higher on the 2-week. Now on the 3-day, we're doing the same thing. We're starting to get that bit of a pullback. And we're seeing a bunch of these bottom wicks before this is about to bounce. So it seems. Back here, we had the same idea. You had a bunch of wicks forming on the bottom as it got closer to the retest, and then it popped up. So right now, if you combine this chart with this chart from back here, it really does paint the picture that we're retesting the support level and nothing's really changed at all. It's all just sort of falling into place. It's doing what it's done on the bigger picture, and it will probably continue to do this sort of thing for the next foreseeable future, because that's just the nature of how Bitcoin moves. It'll often repeat, and you'll see fractals of different parts of the price action all over the place.
If you guys like that alpha, smash the like button and subscribe and just keep showing up, because this is stuff that we don't go over. I don't see this kind of analysis on other channels, and we're trying to keep it real. We're trying to show you how to look at this and how to envision this and tune out the noise and just pay attention to the signal, which is the chart, right? And a lot of these repeating patterns and fractals that Trip is speaking about. And so the retest area or the top of that triangle is around 110, right?
Yeah, 110. And back here, it wasn't a perfect retest necessarily. So there's a bit of wiggle room. I would allow maybe a couple of thousands of dollars on this retest. So it goes back again to the same numbers we're talking about here, where it's pretty much 111 to 112,000 area. That's what I would be aiming for in that green box in this area here on this retest.
Okay, I'm just laughing because Dan's saying, great stuff, Trip, the Jedi of crypto. Trip is actually a real life Jedi. I don't know if you know that, but Trip is pretty good in the arts of martial arts. So he's the Jedi of crypto. I like that. The spaceman, the space Jedi man.
That's funny. Yeah, that was martial arts years ago, but yeah, Megan says it still counts as a Jedi. So anyways, we're going to go into the DXY chart next, just to add some confluence to the idea of what Bitcoin's doing. Usually Bitcoin starts its run when dominance starts to roll over. So we had talked previously about I think it was a 3-month bearish divergence on the histogram for the DXY. And that's what slowly started to make this crawl and fall over. And now that we've broken below the support, at the red level here, it's now acting as local resistance. So we're assuming that this is a bearish retest at this resistance level. If we get this bearish retest confirmed, then we should see continuation to the downside, maybe even as low as 89 on the DXY. So right now we're going to zoom in just to see what that retest has looked like. You can already see we've got a solid rejection off there on the 4-hour chart. So this is already a good sign. This is what we needed to see. We really just don't want to see a break above this red resistance zone. But right now it looks like a bearish retest. We're just going to roll with it and see how that plays out. We're going to be paying attention to this chart, at least for the next couple of weeks, to see how that retest looks.
All right, you really nailed it with that bearish divergence on this chart. And yeah, we talk about these things before they happen so you can be prepared for them, and it's just fun to do the follow-up analysis and see where it was, just like those fractals that Trip was showing and how usually it can tend to repeat itself, and to be able to see that in real time as like, wow, this actually, there's something to this, right? So it's a way to keep you calm and level-headed when the dips are happening, to understand just like what exactly could be happening, and not think about it as news, not think about it as Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy's buying today, or they stop buying and they're not going to buy in the future. Like, all of that is just sort of noise. This is what the charts are telling us, and this is the most effective way to just tune in and understand what's happening, right?
Yeah, definitely. So they complement the story, but they're really just looking at the same charts we are. A lot of times too, you'll see these influencers try to push the prices down by saying, oh, this is it, it's over, and they probably just want cheaper prices on their own. So there's a lot of deceptive activity going on in the crypto space. We all know this. So really, I just try to stick to the charts and block out all that noise as much as I can.
All right, that's right. We're keeping it real here. And I'm telling you, on higher levels in the crypto industry, or higher levels at least, like for bigger following channels, I've seen some bearishness about altcoins and about it. It's just crazy, guys. So just don't pay attention to any of that stuff. Just have a look at what's actually going on in the charts, and you'll be okay. All right, you'll be okay. Real Ice Bear, hey, Skull, I'm gonna cheers to you. I got my ATH vodka. Yeah, you got to go check out that 20 minutes. We talked about the founder of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, saying that we're about to go into the biggest crypto bull run ever, and he called it the Giga Chad bull run. So it's Giga Chad Friday. And Joe Culhane says the sauce master trip. That's right. Yes, you're getting all the sauce on this channel. All the sauce.
Okay, so we can actually dive into ADA really quickly here too. So we were talking about the support entry on this 272 level and the 200 MA and the point of control for this range. So right now it's starting to dip below just a little bit so far, but it's also getting bought up a little bit. We just need to see Bitcoin behave. Just for the past couple of days, at least, Bitcoin has been, it's been pulling back and doing that retest, and the alts have followed. And because Bitcoin dominance has been pumping, it's been really hard for the altcoins to find their footing, at least locally. So it's still a bit of a waiting game. I'd like to see this wick back up and hold with the candle body close above this level before I consider entering on this retest. But it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. There's already a significant pullback on ADA on the daily chart. If we look at the indicators, your Stoch is already down to the oversold levels, and the RSI has been slowly coming down. So we're at about 42 to 43, maybe 44 on the RSI on the daily. We'll take a look at the 12-hour. And this is getting closer and closer to oversold too. So on the 12-hour, you can see the 200 MA is actually below the price and acting as support down here as well. So there's a couple of ideas for support for ADA. Really, yeah, we're just waiting for that pushback up to consider that this has been a confirmed retest so far. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. As far as the targets go. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, if we lose this level of support here, because we have a question from Johnny, is ADA going down some more around 60s for a buy-in? So if we were to lose this level of support here, what are the odds that we would go down and retest, around that 50-cent level? Like, what would you say about that?
Well, I think there's a lot of price action that can still be filled in, right? So if you wanted to really look, you can probably find another support level. Looking at this bounce, looking at this support. Basically right in this area is where you'd add another level. So that's at about 66 cents or so. So that's all I'd be looking for is on the way down. Because I'm not in the trade, I'm just not panicking about how deep it's going to go. If you're already in the trade, then you're probably going to feel that pressure to be like, oh, do I get in? Do I have to get out? What do I have to do, right? So it's going to feel more intense if you're already holding. So from my point of view, I would just rather wait until I see that bounce. I would normally go down to the smaller time frames like the 1 hour. And then I would look for structure down here. And even still, if you wanted to, you could probably start drawing this falling wedge that's starting to form. And you could probably just wait for a breakout of this pattern just the same. So there's always a couple of things that you can do to add to your idea when you're looking for an entry into a trade. It's either a high time frame support bounce, or you zoom in and you try to find a pattern that you can trade within that pullback.
Right. No, I like this. This is how you kind of like gauge where to average in to scale in on your trades, Johnny. So yeah, ADA about to go, especially staking. Yeah, okay. I mean, in the midnight airdrop and all the bullish news around ADA. So we just have to see what happens with Bitcoin dominance, basically, and where will the altcoins find their footing in their bottoms and start to do those reversals. Andrew, what's up? Hope you're having a good stream. We're having a great stream. Thanks for stopping by. You're going to watch the replay. Yes, do Trip drop some alpha in this one, as always. So thanks for showing your support. And I just wanted to comment. He said he's hopping on the treadmill. Amazing, Andrew. Good for you. Good on you. I also hopped on the treadmill today. It's been very hectic with work. I've been working very, very long days, but I'm determined to get back into the best shape of my life. And I'm not negotiating for anything. So I did jump on the treadmill too. I did some weights out on my terrace, overlooking the ocean, and just feeling good. You guys, you've got to do stuff to feel good physically, be on top of your game. physically, will help you be on top of your game mentally, will help you make better decisions, and just in life in general. That's just my thesis. So just go to the gym or do whatever activities that you like to do, but make sure you're active, man, on a daily basis. You got to keep moving, So good to hear it, Andrew. And yeah, let's have a look at BNB.
Yeah, BNB had a nice push, so we made the new all-time high up here. I guess that was about 860, and the previous all-time high was at about 790. So now we're starting to see that pullback to that previous all-time high at about 750 or so. And really, this is just another retest. We want to see what dominance is doing as well, but one that you definitely want to pay attention to for this retest entry if we get it. We're looking for a target as high as $1,000 on BNB. So even if you miss the initial breakout itself, the retest is always your second chance to get in on that pullback entry. There's still a decent move to the upside. Remember, this is a pretty large cap coin, so it doesn't move as much as the mid or the small caps do. But usually I just use a larger position on the coins that are bigger market cap. So if you're getting less of a percentage move, it just means you use a little more capital to make the trade a little more worth it.
All right. Yep. And BNB is like one that always does pretty well during the bull run, and it just continues to go. Like BNB is, for some, it reinvents itself. Binance is really good at just staying ahead of the curve, right? So it's just one of those that's pretty much always in the mix. Mediamot, good day, welcome, happy Friday. We're just finishing up going over our altcoins and about to get into some requests now. So you can go back and re-watch this so you can get the juice, the sauce, okay, the alpha that Trip dropped, and just find out why it's the Giga Chad bull run, basically. If you know, you know. So that's it for the altcoins that we have planned. So let's get into a few requests before we send you all off happily into Friday and the weekend with a smile, with good vibes, good energy. So Trip, what do you say we have a look at Plume?
Okay, I'll pull Plume up in a second here. I'm just getting this Ethereum chart set up here.
All right, Plume and ETH, those were the two that we had gotten requests for. So Lynette, hello, welcome to the show. Lynette is asking about AVAX. Let's see how we do here, if we can get to a third chart. But let's start with ETH.
Right, so ETH, yeah, we were talking about this, I think just a couple of videos ago, I think on Monday or Tuesday. So we were looking for this breakout entry, and we also had mentioned that we were very oversold, or very overbought, I should say, and you had some bearish divergence on this previous last high. So we kind of were expecting some kind of a pullback here. The next best case scenario I could see is a retest of the 0.618 around 3,000 or so. That looks like the next strongest support, and it's really going by 1,000 each. So it was 4,000 at the top, 3,000 is our next support, and then down at the bottom at the 272 is about 2,000 or 2,100. So basically, you're just looking for that $1,000 pullback, and then you're expecting a bounce in this area. But if we don't get this bounce and Bitcoin dominance keeps pushing higher, then we can probably expect ETH to have that deeper correction, and then you get a chance to buy it down near 2,100 to 2,500, and you'd be scaling into this area in anticipation for the next move higher. The key here that you're looking for on Ethereum is that we've put in a low, and then this is a lower low, and then if we get this pullback, we're looking for a higher low, and the higher low is usually that kickstart to the trend change. So on a one-day chart for Ethereum, that trend change could be pretty intense, right? That could be at the start of that Giga Chad bull run that Charles was talking about, right? Usually ETH is the leader first. So we'd want to see ETH have some strength and breakout. But there is definitely a chance where we have another pullback if dominance was able to keep running higher.
Yep. All right. So all eyes on ETH. You know, when ETH starts to rip and do well, then the altcoins will follow. I mean, that's just the flow of things. And it's just all about Bitcoin dominance. What happens when Bitcoin finds its footing? We're right there. We're right there. It might take a little while longer, but we're very close to, you know, just establishing this next move. So pay close attention to that. These are the levels to watch for ETH. So yeah, that's what that is. And next up, we are going to go over Plume, which is the RWA narrative. I've actually heard some about Plume, but I haven't looked into it quite a lot yet. So let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, Plume doesn't have a whole lot of price action. Is there another, like, has it been around, excuse me, longer than 2025? Does anybody know? If it has, then I could find a chart with more data, but it looks like this is all I really have.
Right.
So I'll use this for now. We're just going to put in our lows and our highs. And then I'll add the volume profile to see what the excuse me, the strongest resistance is for this range. And I'll add a horizontal range for this point of control. And then after this, we're probably just going to zoom into the 4-hour to see what kind of structure it looks like. There's not a whole lot to work with here. I mean, there's a support level here that it's testing, at least for now. That's what it's been bouncing off of, is this stuff back here. If this support is lost, though, then yeah, you'd probably look for a move down to this support level, closer to 0.07 or 0.08. And then you probably want to start accumulating down there if you get a bounce. Really what you're looking for is every time you get a pullback to support, most of the time you're going to see a double bottom, and it always starts with a low on the left side, and then the right side bottom is always a little bit higher than that previous bottom. So just because it dips down to this level, if that happens, I wouldn't just buy it right away. I'd like to see some kind of structure to trade into, just so I know that this is a higher chance of being a confirmed bottom instead of just a random support level to buy on.
Right. So those are things to look for when you're wondering what to do next with your position. Dan says he got some Plume about a month ago or so. So that's what you got to look for, those levels, that double bottom that Trip is talking about, and if you want to buy more and you want to average in on this dip. And yeah, since there's not a whole lot of price data to go off of, it's harder to say. But yeah, that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, definitely. So you look at the RSI as well. It looks like you could have another chance at another pullback on the RSI too. So you'd be looking for almost oversold conditions. If you get a pullback that's lower than this low and the price doesn't go as low as the previous low, or sorry, if the price goes lower than the previous low and higher on the price action, then you're looking for a bullish divergence, right? So that's another idea to add to your buying entry, is to see some divergence near oversold conditions.
Right. Yeah, hope that helped, Dan. That's kind of what you want to look at in every type of coin, and especially these new coins if you don't have a lot to go off of. Just sort of reversal ideas, right? Or bottoming ideas.
Right.
Says Plume only has 2 billion released with a 10 billion total supply, so be aware. Yeah. Okay. Well, tokenomics are tricky because, tokenomics is a whole other ballgame. Actually, as a founder of ATH Vodka and launching our token in October, there is so much that goes into that. So it's kind of hard to say, like, when are they released and how and over what period, right? So I don't know how much that'll play into the analysis in the short term. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. And good morning, Graham. Wow, I can't believe you're making it onto the stream. Graham is on the other side of the planet. So love to see you here. And yeah, that's pretty good. So we just went over Plume, which is an RWA narrative. I think RWA will rip for what it's worth this cycle, and we're going to get a lot of attention on that. We already are. Everybody's really excited about stocks being tokenized and financial assets being tokenized. So yes, we will have that run again. It's just a matter of when, and in the meantime, what happens to those tokens, right? So we're just keeping an eye out. Now we're on AVAX, which Lynette asked for. So let's have a look at AVAX.
Yeah, AVAX looked like it had a double bottom forming here, but we've had a pretty strong rejection at this resistance. So right now, you're probably going to use our fibs just to see what kind of level we're pulling back to. 0.5 or a 0.618 pullback. That could be an area of interest if you're looking for this pullback entry. But again, just because we got rejected this resistance, it almost invalidates this double bottom pattern. I'd be a little careful about entering into AVAX right now. Also because of the other same things that are applying as far as Bitcoin dominance goes, right? If that were to keep moving higher, then you probably are going to get a deeper pullback on AVAX just the same. But your 0.5 fib level to pay attention to is around $21. And then your 0.618 is around 19.87. So you can plan for entry around $20 and then scale into the trade, right? So if you're wrong and it starts pulling back deeper and dominance starts going up, then at least you only have a portion of your position in. And then you'd be waiting for probably indicators to tell you when to buy, like the oversold conditions on the RSI with some bullish diversion. Same idea that we talked about for Plume. So yeah, there's just a couple ideas you can watch for. But as it looks right now, it doesn't have the right amount of structure, in my opinion, to say that this is going to go up right away. So there's just a couple things you need to pay attention to first.
Right. And that's pretty much like a lot of altcoins are in this position as we speak. And I see that we have a request here for SPX. I thought you guys weren't supposed to ask about the chart for SPX. Wasn't that one of your rules? Never ask about the charts. All right. Maybe we make an exception here. I know a lot of people who follow meme coins want to know about, SPX and what's happening there. So let's have a look.
Okay, so I'm looking at the volume here at the bottom to see if this breakout was a volume confirmed move, and you had a decent volume candle spike on that break. So now we can probably assume that this is just retesting this resistance. It's now turning into support, so that you're looking for an SR flip of this level. And if you're looking for targets to the upside, I would probably just use fib extensions. And it looks like we're aiming for the 2.0. Let me grab this line here. Oh, there it is. So your 2.0 is about $2.95, almost $3. And then your 0.618 is about 244. And the 272 wasn't really respected all too well here. It looks like it popped above it really quick and then pushed right back down. But either way, these are still the fibs that I would use. You don't have a lot of options when you're looking at prices or charts that are in price discovery. You're really just trying to use whatever tools you have at your disposal to measure beyond the previous highs. And this is really our best bet, is using a fib extension for this chart. So yeah, you just consider this a double bottom, and now it's retesting that neckline of said double bottom.
All right. Well, we won't tell anybody that you asked about the SPX chart, but it's looking good so far. Let's see if this retest is successful. And guys, on that note, we have Watchman. Watchman, what's up? I didn't notice you because you didn't do your usual emojis. And Raka on BNB get to the previous all-time high. Would love to see the weekly chart. Raka. I'm not sure about what that is. Actually, I haven't heard of that. Have you heard of that, Trip? RACA.
No. Are these DEX coins?
He says it's on BNB.
Yeah, that sounds like a DEX coin.
Yeah. Tough
when
to
you
chart.
say it like that. I could type it in to see what comes up. But
all right, let's see. Let's see if we get lucky here. Watchman, there we go. There's the emojis I want. I want the dancing man. I want to have a party, guys. It's Friday. It's Friday. We got to celebrate. All right, we made it through another successful week of tuning in every day and getting all the juice from Trip. And yeah, let's have a look at Raka.
Yeah, so Raka is still pretty much making new lows, like new all-time lows. The most recent time it did that was just earlier in the month in July and June. As far as the indicators go, it's not really giving us much of an edge. It's not near oversold anymore. We don't have any divergences to look for yet. If this were to keep pushing lower, and then as the price action dipped below the previous low, and this is hard to see, I'll try to zoom in a bit. So yeah, same thing. Divergences would be your next key thing to watch for. If the price action was to break below this low and the RSI stays above, you'd have a bullish divergence. So that would be an idea for an entry, but otherwise you're still looking at excuse me, this support level to scale into if you wanted to. Because it's been pushing below the previous lows consistently, it kind of just negated this whole, solid support that it had previously. It doesn't really give me much of an edge again. So if it had respected that level, I would say here, sure, you could probably enter in on support, but now it's negated that support level, and we're really looking for something else concrete for it to sit on. Really all you have is this previous bounce. So yeah, excuse me again. The one thing you're looking for is that same idea, is just oversold conditions, and then hopefully you get some kind of a double bottom forming on this support that you can scale into as well.
All right. Well, Watchman, I hope that was helpful. There's been some powerful tips here, guys. Fractals, mirror images, a lot of things that we look at in the group that we're updating the group on pretty much around the clock with all of our talented admins, and Trip, our lead admin, our lead analyst, right? And you get some of that secret sauce here on, YouTube, but most of it and most of the analysis, the deeper analysis is in the group. So if you want to sign up to the group, the link is in the description below. 10% off for the Crypto Megan community, and we'd love to have you guys there. And so as we wrap this stream up, what do you want to leave them with going into the weekend, Trip? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, just be cautious about weekend movements, right? So if Bitcoin starts to do something where it's breaking above or breaking below, just remember that weekend moves can often just be fake outs. So don't get caught in one of those. I typically don't open any new trades on the weekend. I wait until either Sunday night once the CME is back open, or on Monday morning when you see more action coming from regular weekly traders.
Right. Yeah. And so Graham says DCA is the way to go. I agree, man. You pair that with your trading portfolio, it's powerful, right? If you just have your strategy for your long term, set it and forget it, kind of hold strategy until we reach certain levels in, you know, the bull market or whatever you've mapped out. Powerful. Takes the stress away. I do that as well. I have one portfolio that I hold for long term, but trading then also is a powerful tool to add to compound those gains and to be able to stack whatever it is you're stacking, right? So that's the idea on this channel, is to be able to do a little bit of both. And also you can trade different setups and not have to babysit them every single day. There are different styles and ways of trading. You can do leverage trading, which requires a little bit more of babysitting, so to speak, but not necessarily. And you can also do normal trades, right? Like that are more long-term or mid-term holds. So that's what we teach in the group. It will soon be time to, I mean, the altcoins are trying to find their bottoms. That's just what it is. Let's see what Bitcoin does. I find it a very exciting time in the market because we're at really an interesting crossroad, right? Look at, we're retesting this massive inverse head and shoulders pattern here with the levels that, I mean, like, we're right there, guys. Just pay attention to Bitcoin. I'm buying the dip. If it goes lower, if it tests that 110 level or even a little bit lower than that, I'm buying the dip. That's what I'm doing. I'm really excited. Trip, how about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, same idea back here. You're looking at the same idea, right? This inverse head and shoulders. When it came back for a retest, it didn't really retest the trend line. It came back to a little bit below it. So
Right.
this same idea could happen here. We could push below it a little bit and then it pops up again. So I would just be flexible with what Bitcoin's doing, especially during this pullback retest.
All right. Don't get shaken out, guys. Just pay attention to the chart and stay cool, calm, collected, level-headed as always. And on that note, I just want to thank you for tuning in. We've had a wonderful Friday session with all of you. We will be back with tons of energy on Monday. But until then, guys, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Thank you. Take care.